It used to be the home of Lewes Dairy. Now the building sits empty. Good evening. I'm Madeline Overturf.
And I'm Charlie Sakaitis. Welcome to your news at 6. We begin tonight with history traded for housing. Take a look at this map. You can see exactly where the old Lewes Dairy used to be. But now there is a new plan for old land.
This site on Pilottown Road could soon be carved up into 8 single-family lots called Roosevelt Landing. The Lewes Planning Commission is set to review the final subdivision plan at a meeting tomorrow night. Coast TV News reporter Emma Aiken joins us live there in Lewes. Emma, there's a lot of fond memories from that old dairy.
Maddie, I talked with a handful of people that live in the area today, and the common thread connecting them was a warm feeling as they looked back on the history of this property here. One man I spoke to said he's lived in Lewes for 85 years. He says he'll always remember getting his milk from the old Lewes Dairy. More than 100 years ago, dating all the way back to 1919, this land on Pilottown Road was home to the Lewes Dairy.
I hated to see the dairy leave, really, because had been there for so long, but you know, everything changes.
But for the past several years, the building has been empty and the property looks like this. But new plans for this plot would turn the land into 8 single-family homes, creating a development called Roosevelt Landing. Lewes local Gerald Tarr isn't a fan of large developments, but he sees no problem with one this size.
At least that's small, you know, not going to create that much traffic, and not like some of the larger building areas.
Coast TV talked with one local off-camera who said she doesn't like any development and thinks all this growth is ruining Lewes. But Blaine Bonham has no problem with 8 lots.
I think the Roosevelt Landing development on Pilottown Road is a reasonable development and used for that site.
Back in 2022, the Planning Commission granted preliminary consent to the application, but Roosevelt Landing still has a few more steps to go through before the days of dairy officially become the dawn of development. The Planning Commission could make a recommendation to the mayor and city council, who could then hold a public hearing and make a final decision about the subdivision plan. That meeting is tomorrow night at 6:30. Live in Lewes, Emma Aiken, Coast TV News.
Lewes Dairy has been around since the 1920s. The dairy moved to Millsboro in 2017 to be in more of a central location. In 2023, archaeologists dug at the site to try to uncover traces of a 17th century Dutch fort ahead of Roosevelt Landing's subdivision. All of this brings us to our Coast TV poll. We want to know, how should Lewes honor the history of Lewes Dairy?
Let's take a look at the updated results from last news hour. 74% say historical marker, 9% want a community space, 2% say museum exhibit, and 15% say no tribute needed.
And of course, we do have a comment here today. Bruce of Selbyville says, quote, Lewes Dairy is a historic part of Lewes. In this modern day, it seems society is trying to erase and deny our history, end quote. If you have strong thoughts, or if you want to vote in the poll, you can go to coasttv.com or use the Coast TV mobile app, and we will show you updated results on Coast TV News at 11.